Hi everyone, Gil Fried here, the Crowd Management Doctor. Welcome to a new year, and let's go right at it to the January 2025 news stories. Foul-mouthed fan banned from Eagles home game. And then he got fired from his job after a viral tirade against a woman. The ugly scene was captured on cell phone video during the Eagles' NFC wildcard round victory at Lincoln Financial Field. The widely shared video showed a man in an Eagles jacket bending over, cusping his hands over his mouth and verbally abusing the female fan in the row in front of him. That fan did not appear to respond to him. Online sleuths connected the offending fan to a New Jersey management consulting firm, and we're not going to have to name them, and it denounced its employee's behavior. Several nights later, the company said it had parted ways with the employee. Maybe the real punishment there will be a change in how people behave. If you know you're being filmed and everyone's being filmed, watch what you're doing. All right, the next news story. Vanderbilt student ignored the AD's NIL-related plea to not storm the court. The Southeastern Conference, the SEC, fined Vanderbilt University $500,000 for storming the court after the Commodores upset number 9 ranked Kentucky 74-69, an amount reflective of Vanderbilt's third storming event of this academic year, and one athletic director Candace Story-Lee says could be put to better use. Of course, we could always use money for better uses. Knowing the fine was going to be huge, the AD came over to the Vanderbilt students section and begged the students not to storm the court, telling them the school could use the $500,000 for NIL to build an even better team. It didn't work. The second incident in the string of 3 came just 1 week earlier when the Commodores toppled number 6 ranked Tennessee 76-75. The fine for the post-game court storming was $250,000. The first occurred during the football season as Vandy beat Alabama at First Bank Stadium, which saw its goalpost removed, launched into the river, and then retrieved to be auctioned off as a means to help the school cover the SEC's initial $100,000 fine against the school. Another court storming would raise Vanderbilt's total fine to $1.35 million. How does one convince would-be court rushers to show the same kind of concern that the AD had? Maybe talk to them. And that's what Nina Simmons, Assistant Director and Event Service Manager of the University of North Carolina at Charlotte's Halton Arena, said. Simmons has seen several communication approaches prove effective. Some schools host preseason pizza parties during which safety videos are shown. Others allow students early entry to the facility, then conduct pre-game safety briefings. For example, Simon says, she walks right in front of the students and says, "Listen, guys, here's the rule. Here's the plan." They're much more cooperative than when we started, a couple of years ago, she said. We try to speak to them as we would like to be spoken to. So whenever you have a chance to interact with fans, take that opportunity, talk to them, get to know them. They might be better prepared not to rush the court. The next story, spectator killed after athlete throws hammer into crowd during a track and field meet in Colorado. This is such a sad story. A spectator died after an athlete's hammer was thrown out of bounds during a high school track and field meet at the University of Colorado Springs. UCCS Chancellor Jennifer Sobonet said of the tragedy, "We are heartbroken at this horrible accident and are focused on supporting all involved." A member of the attending audience was killed when a hammer thrown by a participant cleared certified barriers and struck him. Colorado Springs police said the man died while trying to protect his wife and son as the object neared the audience. It's such a sad case. Really, really sad. But these things happen with different instruments that might go into the stands. You always want to be on your lookout for stuff that might leave a playing area. Several hurt after car drives through crowd of Eagles fan in Philly. The police say several people were injured after a car drove through a crowd of Eagles fans in North Philadelphia, according to police and a witness. Police said a driver struck a group of people who were celebrating on North Broad and Spring Garden Street around 9:30 p.m. after the Eagles beat the Washington Commanders during a trip to the Super Bowl. Everybody's dancing, getting along, a witness told NBC. Next thing you know, a car coming down and it's speeding and it hit 10 people. Another witness told NBC 10 that an argument sparked the incident. It was a car. She was on the sidewalk and she was arguing with some people, the witness said. Drove straight down into the crowd and hit probably at least 30 people, that witness further stated. This is just one more example that anything can be used as a weapon. And vehicles are the most frequently seen as a possible weapon today by a lot of individuals, unfortunately. It is too early to say whether alcohol was involved, but oftentimes it's egos and it's some kind of other issue that might be involved that would encourage someone to do something so drastic. And this is one of just a number of stories we have had on these regular updates dealing with such an incident. Next story, stampede at India's Kumbh Mela Hindu Mega Festival leaves at least 30 people dead, police say. A pre-dawn stampede at the world's largest religious gathering killed at least 30 people in India, with many more injured after a surging crowd spilled out of a police cordon and trampled bystanders. Deadly crowd incidents are a frequent occurrence at Indian religious festivals, including the Kumbh Mela, which attracts tens of millions of devotees every 12 years in the northern city of Prayagraj. I hope I'm not mispronouncing that too badly. As pilgrims rush to participate in a sacred day of ritual bathing, people sleeping and sitting on the ground near the rivers said they were trampled by the huge swell of devotees coming towards them in the darkness. Rescue teams carrying victims from the accident site weaved through piles of clothing, shoes, and other discarded belongings. Police were seen carrying stretchers bearing the bodies of victims draped with thick blankets. 90 injured were taken to the hospital, according to authorities. Festivities had otherwise been allowed to continue almost as normal during the day, with millions still trekking to the riverbank to immerse themselves in the water. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, I think it's better just say Prime Minister Modi, called the stampede extremely sad and offered his deepest condolences to relatives of those killed, adding he wishes for the speedy recovery of all injured. Police this year installed hundreds of cameras at the festival site and on roads leading to the sprawling encampment, mounted on poles and a fleet of overhead drones. The surveillance network fed into a sophisticated command and control center meant to alert staff if sections of the crowd got so concentrated that they posed a safety threat. With all that, it still didn't help. More than 400 people died after they were trampled or drowned at the Kumbh Mela on a single day of the festivities in 1954, one of the largest tolls in a crowd-related disaster globally. Another 36 people were crushed to death in 2013, the last time the festival was staged in Prayagraj. You see this at the Hajj and other things as well. When you get a lot of people together, especially millions of people, things like this can happen, even if you lay out the best plans. The next story, bloody fan fight erupts at VCU versus St. Louis men's basketball game for 7 minutes. A fight between fans in the stands near the Virginia Commonwealth University's bench caused the Rams' Atlantic 10 conference game with St. Louis to be delayed around 7 minutes with a minute 10 seconds remaining in regulation. St. Louis led 69-63 when fans wrestled with each other, stumbled across rows of seats and onto the floor at Chaffetz Arena in Missouri. You don't often see this in college basketball, but there's a heck of a brawl going on in the stands, according to play-by-play announcer Tom McCarthy. The police officers and the security have come over and tried to help out almost immediately to slow it down, he ended up stating. Both teams huddled around their coaching staff on the court as a brawl broke out and the participants were ejected. Footage shared by a St. Louis-based NBC affiliate, KSDK, appear to show one older SLU fan that had been significantly bloodied in the brawl. 5 in custody after attacking high school basketball player with pipe at game. 5 people are in custody after they allegedly attacked a high school basketball player during a game at Cooper High School in Minneapolis. According to KSTP, 5 people, including 3 adults and 2 juveniles, entered the school while a varsity boys basketball game against Fridley High School was happening. Just after the game started, the suspect assaulted a Fridley player on the bench using a pipe. The individuals were not students, according to the district officials. The student resource officers moved the student athletes to a safe place, and the gym was placed on lockdown after the incident was under control. The suspects left the gym by vehicle and were pursued by New Hope police. The pursuit led to the suspect's vehicle leaving the road, and 3 adults and 2 juveniles were placed in custody at the time. Police said the attack was not random, but the school affiliations of those involved is still unclear at the present time. But that is one of the things. If you have metal detectors, how can a pipe be brought into a venue? That's why if you have metal detectors, make sure they're on and that they're working, and that you have people manning them effectively. Next story. Eagle fan Tyler Sabathia dies after a horrific accident while celebrating team Super Bowl berth. An 18-year-old Temple University student died after falling from a light pole he climbed to celebrate the Philadelphia Eagles' Super Bowl clinching playoff victory over the Washington Commanders. What a shame. The incident occurred as fans gathered at 15th and Market Street in Philadelphia, and that was on a Sunday night after the game. Unfortunately, he fell backwards from the pole and hit his head on the concrete sidewalk. He was rushed to the hospital with a brain injury and died there 2 days later. It's all fun and games until someone gets hurt, right? It's such a shame. But whenever people climb up on stuff, you as a patron manager need to be very cautious and remind them about the risk of injury. Marlins getting sued over dog urine in wild lawsuit. I don't make this stuff up. The Marlins in the city of Miami are being sued by one fan who allegedly she slipped on dog urine during the team's Bark in the Park event last year at Lone Depot Park. The fan, Luann Hahn, is looking for $50,000 in a jury trial according to the complaint. As plaintiff was walking on the premises that was not designated for dogs to be in, she slipped on an dog urine on the floor, causing her to fall into the ground. That was the typo that they had in their complaint. The lawsuit obtained by the Post reads further, the existence of the liquid on the floor created an unreasonably dangerous and unsafe condition. Bark at the Park games have become popular among baseball teams, with fans having their chance to bring man and woman's best friend to the park while they enjoyed America's pastime. The lawsuit cites April 14, 2024 as the date of the alleged incident. But the team's online schedule does not list that game having a Bark in the Park promotion. There's only one dog on site, and that's a Bob sniffing dog that is sometimes at the game. So where does liquid come from? Bark at the Park nights actually come with a waiver with a provision, quote, you must execute this release and agree to its terms in order to enter Lone Depot Park and the surrounding area. And that's called the quote-unquote ballpark. The waiver further reads, it also includes notable details such as, I further assume any and all risk associated with my participation in the event, including but not limited to illness, traveling to and from the event, falls, contact with spectators at the event, injuries or damages, including death sustained by and through other participants' dogs. It also reads further, in consideration for allowing me to participate in the event with my dog, I hereby for myself, my heirs, executors, and administrators, or anyone acting on my behalf, waive, release, covenant not to sue, and fully defend, indemnify, hold harmless, and discharge a long list of possible defendants. If this was an actual event for dogs to come to the ballpark, then that could lead to other issues and considerations that should be examined. These special events are happening more frequently, and it does not surprise me when people have sued for injuries from flying t-shirts, hot dogs that are being tossed, dizzy bat races gone awry, assaults from mascots, and numerous other challenges. That is why many teams and stadiums require individuals to execute a waiver to participate in any event. It could be that the liquid came from a service dog, or maybe the police dog, but you will have a high hill to climb that the venue was on notice. Furthermore, there are numerous liquids that arise suddenly at a ballpark. Beer, water, soda are spilled all the time. Also, condiments can be spilled. You know, you can't stop stuff from spilling, and you can't be responsible for everything that might spill on the ground. That is where defense can examine all sorts of different issues, such as how long was it out there? Did they have knowledge of the incident? What were the shoes like that the person was wearing? Were they drinking anything? What were they doing while they were walking? All these different things are often analyzed as part of these cases to show a defense that, look, there's nothing we can do. And as I've reiterated many times, it is impossible to have a 100% safe venue. If you do have spills from whatever liquid and they've lasted there for a little bit, and how do you define a little bit? The courts will look at the facts of the situation. If it's there for 10 minutes, that might be considered a little bit. If there are a lot of people not in that area, so it's a very infrequently traveled area,